Welcome to a journey through time where the primal instinct of hunting meets modern conservation efforts. In the quiet hours of human history, long before supermarkets and fast food restaurants dotted our landscapes, humans were primarily hunters. This essential skill for survival has evolved over centuries, transforming from necessity into sport, conservation, and cultural practice. Today, we delve into the fascinating world of hunting history with Steven Rinella, a renowned outdoorsman who bridges the gap between ancient hunting traditions and contemporary wildlife management. His perspective offers a unique lens through which we can understand our ancestral connection to the natural world and how hunting has shaped human civilization throughout millennia. The relationship between humans and hunting dates back approximately 2 million years, marking one of the oldest and most significant interactions between humans and their environment. This primordial connection has left indelible marks on our evolutionary path, influencing our physiological development and cultural practices across diverse societies worldwide. Through the expertise and passionate advocacy of Steven Rinella, we gain insights into this rich tapestry of human experience that continues to resonate in modern times. His deep knowledge and respect for hunting traditions illuminate how this practice has influenced everything from our dietary habits to our spiritual beliefs and social structures throughout history. Steven Rinella's approach to hunting history stands apart because he examines it not merely as a set of techniques for procuring meat, but as a complex cultural phenomenon that reveals much about human values and our place within natural ecosystems. Through his popular Meat Eater platform, which includes books, podcasts, and television programs, Rinella has become a leading voice in explaining the ecological and historical significance of hunting to contemporary audiences. His narrative weaves together archaeological evidence, historical accounts, personal experiences, and conservation science to create a comprehensive picture of hunting's role in human development. This multifaceted approach helps modern listeners understand hunting beyond simplified stereotypes and appreciate its nuanced place in our collective heritage. What makes Rinella's perspective particularly valuable is his emphasis on ethical hunting practices and conservation efforts that preserve wildlife habitats for future generations. Unlike narratives that position hunting as either pure recreation or mere historical artifact, Rinella presents it as an ongoing tradition with deep ethical implications for how humans interact with the natural world. He frequently discusses the concept of fair chase and the hunter's responsibility toward animal populations and ecosystems. This ethical dimension adds depth to our historical understanding of hunting, revealing how different cultures have developed various codes and practices to ensure sustainable harvesting of wild game. Through Rinella's storytelling, we discover how indigenous peoples across continents developed sophisticated hunting methods that maintained ecological balance long before modern conservation science. The story of hunting cannot be separated from the broader narrative of human innovation and technological advancement. From the development of the atlatl spear thrower approximately 30,000 years ago to the refinement of the compound bow in the 1960s, hunting tools reflect our species' remarkable capacity for invention and adaptation. Rinella often highlights how these technological developments coincided with cultural shifts in hunting practices and wildlife management approaches. The transition from nomadic hunting and gathering to settled agriculture represents one of the most profound changes in human history, reshaping our relationship with wild animals and natural landscapes. Through examining these pivotal moments in hunting history, we gain perspective on larger patterns of human development and our evolving understanding of sustainability and resource management throughout the ages. The chronology of hunting weaves through human existence like a vital thread, connecting our earliest ancestors to modern practitioners like Steven Rinella. Archaeological evidence suggests that organized hunting began approximately 400,000 years ago, when early hominids developed more sophisticated tools and cooperative strategies. These ancestral hunters relied on their knowledge of animal behavior and seasonal patterns, passing this wisdom through generations as essential survival information. By the Upper Paleolithic period, roughly 40,000 years ago, hunting had become highly specialized, with different techniques developed for various prey animals and environmental conditions. Cave paintings from this era, such as those found in Lascaux, France, depict hunting scenes with remarkable detail, suggesting the central importance of this activity to early human communities and their spiritual practices. Steven Rinella frequently discusses how hunting transitioned through distinct historical phases, each characterized by technological innovations that fundamentally changed human-wildlife relationships. The invention of the bow and arrow approximately 20,000 years ago represented a revolutionary advancement, allowing hunters to strike from greater distances with improved accuracy. This innovation spread across continents, with indigenous cultures adapting the technology to their specific environmental conditions and prey animals. The domestication of dogs for hunting assistance, beginning roughly 15,000 years ago, marked another crucial development in hunting history. These canine companions enhanced human hunting capabilities through their superior sense of smell, tracking abilities, and speed, creating a partnership that continues in many hunting traditions. Today, throughout his work, Rinella emphasizes how these technological shifts not only increased hunting efficiency, but also influenced cultural practices and social organizations surrounding the hunt. The historical relationship between hunting and conservation contains surprising complexities that Rinella often illuminates through his storytelling. The late 19th and early 20th centuries witnessed catastrophic declines in North American wildlife populations due to market hunting and habitat destruction during westward expansion. Species like the passenger pigeon disappeared entirely, while bison, elk, and wild turkey approached extinction. This crisis prompted the birth of the modern conservation movement, spearheaded by hunters like Theodore Roosevelt, George Bird Grinnell, and Aldo Leopold, who recognized the urgent need for wildlife protection. The establishment of hunting regulations, seasons, and licensing systems created a framework for sustainable wildlife management that continues today. The Pittman-Robertson Act of 1937 directed hunting license fees and equipment taxes toward conservation efforts, creating a funding mechanism that has generated billions of dollars for habitat restoration and wildlife research across North America. Steven Rinella's exploration of hunting history emphasizes how this practice has evolved from subsistence activity to multifaceted cultural phenomenon with significant ecological implications. Through his books, podcasts, and television programs, he traces how hunting transformed from universal human activity to specialized pursuit with diverse manifestations across cultures. The Industrial Revolution and urbanization created profound shifts in human relationships to hunting, as fewer people directly participated in procuring their own meat. This demographic change coincided with the emergence of recreational hunting and the development of distinct hunting traditions and ethics. Today's hunting landscape reflects these historical forces, with participants ranging from subsistence hunters in remote regions to recreational sports people to conservation-minded practitioners, following Rinella's approach of field-to-table hunting that emphasizes utilizing the entire animal and understanding its ecological context. This complex history reveals how hunting practices have continuously adapted to changing environmental conditions, technological capabilities, and cultural values across human history. The archaeological record reveals fascinating insights about hunting practices that evolved across diverse human societies throughout history. Ancient hunting implements discovered at excavation sites demonstrate remarkable ingenuity, from finely crafted Clovis points dating back 13,000 years to sophisticated bow designs that maximized force and accuracy in various environmental conditions. Steven Rinella often references these archaeological findings in his work, noting how they illuminate not only technological capabilities, but also cultural priorities of ancient hunting peoples. The protein and fat acquired through successful hunting expeditions provided critical nutritional resources that directly contributed to human brain development and population growth. This nutritional advantage created a positive feedback loop, as enhanced cognitive abilities enabled more sophisticated hunting strategies and tool creation, which in turn secured more reliable protein sources for growing communities. This relationship between hunting success and human development represents one of the most significant factors in our species' evolutionary journey through time. Studies of contemporary hunter-gatherer societies provide valuable insights into historical hunting practices that Rinella frequently incorporates into his educational content. The Hadza people of Tanzania, the Inuit of Arctic regions, and the indigenous peoples of the Amazon maintain hunting traditions that have remained relatively unchanged for thousands of years. These communities demonstrate sophisticated ecological knowledge that enables sustainable harvesting practices without depleting wildlife populations. Their hunting methods typically involve extensive understanding of animal behavior, weather patterns, and seasonal cycles, rather than technological advantages. What anthropologists find particularly noteworthy is the social dimension of hunting within these cultures, where knowledge transmission occurs through direct mentorship and experiential learning rather than formal instruction. Young hunters develop skills through observation and guided participation, gradually mastering tracking, weapon use, and field dressing techniques under elder supervision. This apprenticeship model has characterized hunting knowledge transmission throughout most of human history. Sleep-inducing details about hunting history include the meticulous classification systems developed by different cultures to categorize animal behaviors, habitats, and seasonal patterns. Indigenous hunters across North America recognized dozens of distinct snow conditions that influenced tracking and animal movement, developing specific terminology for each variation. European medieval hunting traditions included elaborate vocabulary differentiating animals by age, gender, and behavior, with specialized terms for animal groupings and movements that required years of study to master. The technical specifications of historical hunting implements reveal similarly painstaking attention to detail, with arrow designs varying according to intended prey species, hunting distance, and environmental conditions. Fletcher's craft involved selecting specific feather types from particular birds to achieve optimal arrow flight characteristics, while arrowheads were crafted with different shapes and materials, depending on their intended purpose. These intricate knowledge systems, developed over countless generations, represent humanity's profound engagement with the natural world through hunting practices. Perhaps the most sleep-inducing aspect of hunting history lies in the regulatory developments that transformed unstructured practices into organized wildlife management systems. The gradual implementation of hunting seasons across different regions involved careful consideration of animal breeding cycles, population dynamics, and habitat requirements. Wildlife biologists studied migration patterns, reproductive rates, and mortality factors to establish sustainable harvest limits that would maintain healthy wildlife populations while providing hunting opportunities. The development of the North American model of wildlife conservation, which Rinella frequently discusses, established 7 core principles that continue to guide wildlife management across the continent. These principles include establishing wildlife as a public trust resource, eliminating commercial hunting markets, allocating wildlife by law rather than privilege, and ensuring sustainable use through scientific management. The intricate details of how these management systems evolved involve countless committee meetings, scientific studies, legislative sessions, and stakeholder negotiations spanning more than a century of conservation history. This methodical development of wildlife management frameworks represents one of humanity's most successful environmental governance achievements. The impact of hunting traditions extends far beyond the practical acquisition of food, shaping cultural identities and social structures across diverse human societies throughout history. Indigenous communities worldwide developed ceremonial practices surrounding hunting that fostered community cohesion and spiritual connection to the natural world. These traditions often included pre-hunt rituals seeking permission from animal spirits, post-hunt ceremonies expressing gratitude, and communal sharing practices that distributed meat equitably among group members. Steven Rinella frequently discusses how these cultural dimensions of hunting created ethical frameworks governing human relationships with wildlife long before modern conservation concepts emerged. The hunting-based cosmologies of many traditional societies positioned humans not as separate from nature, but as participants within it, responsible for maintaining balance through respectful harvest practices. This philosophical perspective contrasts sharply with industrial approaches to natural resources and offers valuable insights for contemporary sustainability challenges facing our increasingly urbanized society. Contemporary hunting practices reflect both ancient traditions and modern scientific understanding, creating a unique bridge between cultural heritage and conservation biology. The ethical principles that Rinella advocates, emphasizing fair chase, complete utilization of harvested animals, and habitat stewardship, draw from indigenous wisdom while incorporating current ecological knowledge. Public attitudes toward hunting have evolved significantly over recent decades, with increased recognition of its role in sustainable food systems and wildlife management. The locavore movement and growing interest in ethically sourced protein have attracted new participants to hunting who approach it primarily as a means of obtaining natural, unprocessed meat. This shift represents a significant departure from trophy-focused hunting that dominated much of the 20th century, returning instead to hunting's historical emphasis on sustenance and direct connection to food sources. Educational programs teaching hunting skills to new participants often highlight both practical techniques and ethical responsibilities, creating more informed and conservation-minded hunters for the future. The technological evolution of hunting equipment continues to raise important ethical questions about fair chase principles and hunting's cultural meaning in modern society. Advanced optics, rangefinders, trail cameras, and specialized clothing have dramatically increased hunter effectiveness compared to traditional methods. Steven Rinella frequently discusses how these technological advantages necessitate thoughtful consideration of ethical boundaries and harvest limits to maintain hunting's integrity as both conservation tool and cultural practice. The digital age has transformed hunting knowledge transmission, with online videos and forums supplementing traditional mentorship, creating both opportunities and challenges for maintaining authentic hunting traditions. Virtual hunting communities connect practitioners across geographic boundaries, facilitating information sharing while sometimes disconnecting knowledge from specific landscapes and ecological contexts. This tension between technological advancement and traditional practice represents one of hunting's most significant contemporary challenges as practitioners navigate its future role in society. As we conclude our exploration of hunting history with Steven Rinella, we recognize how this ancient practice continues to evolve while maintaining core connections to our human heritage. The story of hunting parallels the broader human journey through time, reflecting our changing relationship with the natural world across generations and cultures. From sustenance necessity to conservation mechanism to cultural tradition, hunting remains relevant in modern society precisely because it connects us to fundamental aspects of human experience that technological advancement cannot replace. The tactile engagement with natural environments, the direct participation in food acquisition, and the ethical responsibilities toward wildlife populations offer powerful counterbalances to increasingly virtual and disconnected modern lifestyles. By understanding hunting's complex history and ongoing evolution, we gain valuable perspective on humanity's place within natural systems and our continuing responsibility toward wildlife conservation for future generations. As Rinella often reminds his audience, hunting's greatest value may lie not in its practical outcomes, but in its ability to foster deeper connections between people and the natural world that sustains all life.